friends, it is time. Guardian news. Let's start with the video actually before we read the blog post. We're not doing it backwards today. We'll start at the top and do this all in order as it should be. I believe I can just open this in here. I don't have to do another browser tab or something. There should be sound. Let me know if it's too loud. I can't make it bigger. Oh, there should be enough actually. Okay. Okay. So this looked like a huge symbol. This might be ranged actually, this big one, AoE. Oh. Okay. So there is at least one ranged deck on a Necromancer. This is a multi, okay. Interest. Show a card in half. Our ranger. Oh, is ranger oh, is it actually happening? Ranged ranger? Well, kind of. A little bit of ranged, I guess. Ooh, okay. Wait, was that stealth? I'll go back in a second. Okay. So, 1 second. Was that a stealth on the ranger? Don't we have didn't we have like issues recently where like certain thieves stealth their team? I think Heal Spectre or something, and that caused like auto attack chains to stop and like things like that. I don't know, there was like some interaction that people really didn't like. That was like one recent thing. It was stealth that comes to my mind. Maybe I'm like getting it all wrong, but yeah. Eleanor, how's it going? I'm so glad that this spear is melee, first of all, on Guardian. So I believe this is just auto attack chain. Why is this here? Auto attack chain. So this seems to be the symbol. This seems to be one symbol. Maybe also auto attack chain. There will be a boon on the symbol because that's always how it goes. This is a really big one. Like this is a like I don't even know what this is, but this is a super giant symbol. Cones just like quick monsters. Yeah, I wonder if this is just like a cone-shaped AoE, like a multi-hit. So you hit the thing that you're hitting and also everything else in front of you, basically. If you know what I mean. I don't know if there's a different effect attached to this and like sort of like boons or other things. Is everything here a cone? I don't think so. 1 second. So this is a strike. There is a cone animation, kind of. I see what you're saying. This would be cool if this is CC or something as a knockdown, but probably will be not. And then we have an AoE. I hope this is a ranged AoE at least. Right, so you can throw this like somewhere. For like open world gameplay and stuff, so you don't have to be always in the middle of things. I wonder if this is just like multiple symbols or something. Because we always have these ground markers, they are quite huge. The other option is, because they are quite huge, we have a trait that makes Guardian symbols bigger. So I don't know if this is like some hint that there is it's like a, well, it's hitting the enemy but it's also doing something else on the side, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I don't know, that's like the only thing, or they just made it intentionally bigger and it's just always this big. It is what it is, right? That's the other option. It's just the normal version of this. So this is mobility for the Necromancer, like this sword. So Necromancers get more mobility, basically. but only to the target, not anywhere. They have to have a target and then they go to the target. This is many hits, multi-hits. There you go. I wonder if this reminds me of the float in Harbinger Shroud. The Harbinger Shroud 5, when you float enemies, it kind of looks like this. But yeah, also melee, basically melee with mobility. So a ranged attack. And then we have also this jump to the target. So also mobility, there is stealth there. This seems also to be like pretty much melee and some mobility. I wonder, so this is all that this is one heavy armor class, medium and light. They all seem to be pretty much melee, some of mobility, some don't. Well, the Guardian doesn't really, I guess, apparently. I wonder if they also go with the next spears will be ranged or something. That we'll see the next time, I guess. But yeah, interesting. Okay, let's read actually about these. So Guardian spears are quite unlimited. Yes, I've seen this a lot of symbols actually. Let's see if they are actually symbols or maybe something else. So is this big enough for you guys though? Oh, interesting. Oh, this is really big now. You have to forgive me, my mouse wheel is kind of broken. There you go. So, unlike the Kodan that settled in the Shiver Peaks, the Kodan of Janfir have long separated from their reverence for Kodan. Instead, they have turned to the nature they are surrounded by to guide the relationship with the world, the sun, and all the benefits life seizes from it included. Certain spear bears look to the sun to channel inspiration in battle and aiding their allies in illuminating a path forward. Guardians have learned from this Kodan and wield their spears in a similar manner, focusing on supporting allies and debilitating enemies. Interesting. So this seems to be support oriented. You still have to hit things to like do your support, but while some of these skills can be used to provide support at a safe distance, their true potential is realized on the front lines when the Guardians is fighting alongside their allies. That's what I said, right? No Guardian spec at all operates at range, right? It's not happening. It doesn't make sense with any of the virtues, right? So it just gives you an option like the like your Guardian symbol on staff you can place at range at people, right? You can like throw this at someone and give like swiftness and like a little pulsing heal somewhere. By fulfilling specific conditions, certain spear skills will cause the following spear attack to be illuminated, which makes them stronger or grants them additional spec. So there is a combo system on this apparently, like in some form. Okay, while you can only empower one skill at a given time, those skills can in turn grant the illuminated status to your next skill, allowing the Guardian to chain multiple illuminated skills together with precise positioning. Let's look at how a few... Okay, interesting. Hello Marky, welcome in. So the second skill, Helio Rush, causes the Guardian to charge forward in the direction they are aiming. Oh, there's also movement then apparently. So all of the spears we saw today have at least one movement skill. So in the direction they are aiming, which is, I guess, like the second Willbender virtue, right? You have an arrow, you point it somewhere and off you go. Dealing damage to enemies and healing allies that they pass through. Oh, you can zoom through your group basically. Okay. Striking an enemy during the rush causes the next spear attack to be illuminated. The illuminated version of Helio Rush increases the healing and additionally grants them resolution. Thus, the skill is best used in the thick of the fray when you're able to go through both allies and enemies at once. Resolution is interesting. So heal benders have perma resolution all the time. They have this everywhere. It's crazy. Firebrand's a little bit so much, but they have light fields. So resolution is the one that gives like protects you against conditions, basic condition damage. But they have light fields everywhere, and everyone who finishes on them basically does condition cleansing. You have Tome 2 has a lot of condition cleansing, condition conversion into boons, right? So they are already very good with dealing with conditions basically. Now it's a lot of resolution apparently. Guardian weapons aren't complete without a symbol of some sort. Yes, and the spear is no exception. The 5th skill, oh okay, symbol of luminance knocks enemy back as you cast it. The symbol pulses resistance to allies who don't have it already and weakness to enemies. That is pretty cool. Okay. Symbol of Luminance is unique in that, unlike other spear skills, it does not have a way to grant the illuminated effect, but for a good reason. While you're standing within the symbol, any spear attacks you perform are automatically illuminated. Regardless of whether you are currently in the correct state with the limited version of the skill, this property applies even if you leave the symbol and lasts for as long as the symbol does, including the additional duration granted by Writ of Persistence and exist. Okay. So having a lot of resistance is really good. For like everything. So resistance is basically the thing that makes you immune against movement impairing things. So like cripple and slow, and slow I believe maybe not. The chill was one I was thinking about. Chill, right? All these kinds of things. Which basically gives your group free movement. Like you're not easily limited in your movement. I think that's a better way to phrase this. This is pretty cool. I like this. You have already resistance on Firebrand, and usually nowadays you just apply it when you need it, right? It's super accessible in the 3rd tome. It's not a thing you need all the time, right? But if you have a Firebrand who knows what's up, he would apply it when you need it. It is awesome, and now you just have even more of it basically. Of that, I like that. It's good times. Yeah, I'm really happy with this. You still need you still need staff. Well, the thing is, no might. The thing is, as a firebrand, it's a little bit easier, but there is like a million ways to give might basically. So you, of course, have your Tome 1, right? The fire fields, you can blast them. You have a blast finisher in Tome 1. You can play, if you want to play with empowering might trade, where you crit and then you spit out some might there, and you can run this instead of the staff trade. If you don't play staff, you can do empowering might instead. You can do legendary lore, and then literally everything in Tome 1 gives might. When you go into F1 in your tome and you don't have it already on cooldown, you give a little bit of might just for opening the tome. Your quickness monitor gives might. There's like a million might sources, right? And like different ways to solve this. You can run a relic that gives some might. You can run the first Grandmaster trade, so you can play without the increased the tome page regeneration, and then you give some might there. Like might, I don't think is really an issue. You can play still like Scepter Shield, for example, if you want. Give some might. Like I'm not really worried about the might at all. Like if I don't know, like Firebrands particularly have no issues with that whatsoever. They have a million ways to compensate for that. You have to of course change the build and stuff, right? But yeah, that's like super solvable, I think. And also we have to see what the other boons are, right? So it says support your allies, you have some healing in there, you have resolution, you have resistance, right? And then maybe there's like 1 or 2 other buffs. Maybe there's something like rather simple on the auto attack chain, right? We'll see. But I like the sound of this. This is cool stuff. I like this. And then I'm very curious how this actually plays out. Okay, let's go Ranger. Spear-wielding rangers excel at hunting their prey. They whittle their quarry down at range, and then they finish them off with a surprise attack at mid-range. Oh, so they are mostly range, I guess, okay. Ranger spears feature a new type of auto attack that some of the other spears will utilize as well. When at range, you will throw a spear at your target, but when you move closer to your foe, you'll transition into using a melee chain. Ooh. So it has different auto attack chains. This bimodal model will help you always keep up pressure. Interesting. I also wonder, well, it will probably swap between as you're moving closer. So when you're in the middle of your auto attack chain, the ranged chain, and you go too close, it will swap to the melee one and start that one instead. So you might want to be careful there, because the last skill in your auto attack chain tends to be really powerful. Right, but yeah, okay. Interesting idea though. I like it. This is okay. Rangers learn from the animals of Janfir to deftly wield their spears. Using Mongoose Frenzy, they'll slash their spear in front of them as if they were a wild animal using their claws. Good, role-playing, I like it. Falcon's Stoop throws a spear with the velocity of a raptor. Panther's Prowl will kick up nearby brush, stealthing the ranger and their pet. And that's when the fun begins. Okay. Ranger spears feature a new type of stealth attack. That as well, okay. Unlike a thief, stealthing upgrades... unlike a thief, stealthing upgrades ranger spears through 5 skills. Okay, into new version to share a cooldown with them. Oh, I see. So when you're... okay. So your 2, 3, 4, and 5 on the spear have an ability when you just fight. And as soon as you go stealth, they all change. Like you have a changed version when you like merge with your pet and soul beast and stuff. Okay, but the cooldowns are shared. So, okay. Let's see. Mongoose Frenzy flips into Wolf's Onslaught. You swipe your spear as before and then follow up with a jab with the same force as a bite from a wolf's gnashing fangs. Okay. Falcon's Stoop becomes Owl Flight, launching an owl spirit that is wider and unblockable to fly through enemies. Waving in and out of melee range, rangers will use their spear to chip away at the prey before they go into stealth to finish the kill. The unique stealth attacks will allow them to decide how they want to tactically approach any scenario. But I believe you have only one source of stealth, right? I wonder, did I mention this, if this is on the auto attack chain? So if you just auto attack, you at some point go stealth, and then you have to work with those buttons, and then it depends for like how long stealth lasts, and then okay. Interesting. I hope it's not too stealthy in a way. That could be a problem for, well, PvE not really, but for competitive play, we'll see. I like the auto attack thing that's like changing depending on range and stuff. That's cool. It also means more abilities, right? Even though a weapon skill usually does give 5 abilities, it's now 10 basically. And then also you still have ambush skills for Untamed and stuff like that. Interesting. Okay. Now let's take a look at some aspects of the Necromancer Spear. This spear is a melee power damage weapon. Wow, okay. Melee power. Let me think. How many melee power weapons do we have? We have the swords with the great sword. With the one-handed axe, the main-handed axe is also kind of power, right? So it's a lot of power now on the Necromancer. Okay. That also brings some disruptive elements, a bit of mobility, and some strong burst potential through cooldown resets. Ooh, they have cooldown reduction. Okay, interesting. I was expecting this somewhere else, but sure. More spammy. Necromancers become even more spammy. I love it. Many of the spear skills create soul shards. life-stealing objects that behave similarly to thieves' venoms, but they will only be consumed by strikes from the spear's second skill. This allows them to be consistently built up to a maximum of 6 to reach a singular moment of power, instead of being immediately consumed by the next strike. I see, so you attack a bunch, you spawn these things, and as soon as you had number 2, they all get consumed, and number 2, whatever it does a lot of it. Okay, so it's like a mesmer piling up like blades, right? The witches just like collecting blades until they shatter and stuff. Kind of in a way, I guess. These shards deal increased damage against low health enemies and grant increased healing while your health is low, giving more opportunities for powerful execution sequences or the ability to sustain while nearing death yourself. I see, so they heal yourself basically. Like it's a self-sustained thing, because necromancers are not tanky yet for some... Okay, sure. And then the increased damage is like... it's just like bosses below 25% health, and then it does like more. Something it's like that thing. And we've seen that before. Okay, it's like a finisher execute kind of thing. As mentioned above, soul shards will be consumed by Perforate, skill 2 on the spear. Perforate is a multi-hit attack that strikes enemies 7 times, enough to consume all active soul shards. Perforate also deals increased damage against low health enemies, which combined with the low health bonus attack damage of soul shards makes it a potent skill for finishing the job. Yeah, pretty much. I wonder, I believe it looked like there's an animation lock to this. So if you have a like somewhat moving target, it might not go as well, but yeah. Since it's a really powerful thing, apparently, that would make sense. In order to get full value out of Perforate, you'll need to generate some soul shards first. So let's look at another skill that might come in handy. Okay. Skill 4 is Isolate, the singular long-range skill on the spear that serves as a gap closer. That's the mobility one, okay. This skill throws a spear at the enemy, inflicting chill vulnerability, and on successful striking a target, it flips into the follow-up skill, Distress. Activating the follow-up skill will teleport the Necromancer to the target struck by the initial spear and generate soul shards. Okay, so you can also only do damage, and you don't have to port if you don't want to, right? For reasons as the damaging field or whatever. So you can still do the damage element, but you don't have to porting, right? If it gets you in trouble, you can decide to just not port. Additional shards are generated if the enemy does not have any nearby allies of their own. So this skill is great at creating opportunities to pick off lone enemy targets. Teleporting to an enemy will also fully recharge Perforate, so you will always be ready to consume your newly generated soul shards. I see. So you teleport and you can immediately do, after you get closer, do the like 7 hits and go crazy with it. Isolate will also recharge itself when exiting Death Shroud, giving access to a lot of potentially powerful sequences. That sounds pretty strong, actually. Skill 3 and 5 also generate soul shards, among other things, but we'll talk about those in a bit. I see. Okay. There's a live stream on 21. It's like 3 weeks or something. What do we think about this? This is some really interesting stuff. I'm happy generally with the Guardian. I was kind of hoping for this, and I was really scared after the video. It's only just another DPS thing, but it's not. We have to see what everything else is on there, but I like it. The auto attack chain changes is interesting. I wonder if they will also like ever introduce this in like other weapons, or if they at some point in the future maybe rework some weapons. Right, in like the next expansion after, or just at some point in between, right? I don't even know, to like refreshen the like super old abilities we have from like many years ago in the game. Yeah, let me know what you think. Let's talk about this. Okay, let's go to a peaceful place, kind of over here somewhere. So, how would we... So let's talk about our firebrand approaches in the combination with a potential spear. Hey Jedrick, how are you doing, my friend? I hope you are doing well. I was lurking heavily like a pro. So let's talk about how you can approach this with a potential spear solution. You have two options basically, right? It's a two-handed weapon, and it can be used as a alternative to the staff, or you replace your main hand, it can be mace or axe, and your shield, right? But if you replace this, you don't have the axe and the shield. For covering regeneration and fury, it is not really a problem because you get these from other sources. You get your fury still from Fear My Wrath. You don't have it permanently actually, but many builds today just like spit fury out like all the time, so that will probably not be like super limiting. And regen you just have in your Tome 2, right? You have a trait that gives regen when you open Tome 2, and then you have regen on your Tome 2 free. This also gives vigor, and if you run the legendary lore trait, literally everything in Tome 1 gives regen. Like all of this gives regen. You have so much regen, it's insane. Like you can pretty much do whatever the hell you want, and you always give regen. So the thing is, I talked about this already, regen and vigor are somewhat special on Firebrand because you have absolute resolve, the trait absolute resolve. So the absolute resolve basically gives you the virtue of resolves, and with that you have plus 15% endurance regeneration and healing around you basically. And that's basically kind of what regen and vigor do, more or less. So you have this already kind of going, right? You can just exist and your passive is going. Yeah, and you just heal people around you basically with this, because this is shared. We have here the virtue of resolve. Yeah, like the passive is just shared with your team basically. And then you can, on top of this, still give regen and vigor and just like double down on both effects. But yeah, that's that basically. So you don't really necessarily need mace to do regen. And in most cases, and you also have a small heal on the auto chain on mace. But in most cases, like running mace is considered like super overkill when it comes to healing these days. So players tend to run mace instead because it basically fills the gap for the fury uptime. You have a pull, which is really nice because it's really good to have. Well, it's a piece of utility, and you have already a lot in that regard. You can move things away from you with a knockback. You can move things from over there to the side. Right, unless you kill it, then maybe not, right? But you can move things at range to the side, to a different place, and then you can move things at range to you with a knock pull, with a pull, right? And that's like the one thing you would really give up, that's utility. But we don't know the entire toolkit of Spear yet, whatever. So I would consider replacing this if you wanted to heal even more. And if you needed more resolution resistance access, for example, like I would prefer to replace this. But what happens when you get rid of these weapons? So you don't have your symbol and your fury. That's not the end of the universe, because again, you get a lot of Fear My Wrath, and pretty much everyone these days gives a little bit of fury. Like many builds have this now. When they changed the crit traits, the crit chance traits, they just gave people fury and like some like build traits. Yeah, many people like just spit this out on the side now. Not really worried about this so much, right? If you do like these players next to you, you might not be able to do this, right? And you have to go back to Axe, but yeah. But the big thing that goes away is you have one less Aegis charge and one less protection. So this can be solved in some ways. So again, helpful here would also be legendary lore again. If you don't run this, let's say you go Starward Speed, you still give protection when you open your tome free and it's not on cooldown yet. Your first page always gives protection, so you can throw in this, for example. And then you have the fifth one gives some prod, and that's like pretty much it. If you do play legendary lore, everything in here gives protection, right? You can bubble, and it does give protection. Which means you have to just play your tome free more heavily. But just one page, like this is already 10 seconds with one page, right? And now it's already 20 seconds, and I have not redone anything else. We're also getting reduced page regeneration soon, so this is like even more like doable to this frequently if you don't have your shield for protection, right? So protection uptime not an issue if you don't have these weapons. You just utilize your tome free, and maybe to help it out, make it even more easier, legendary lore trade. It's good stuff. The other option, which is a very weird one, and I don't recommend this, but if you want to have very easy and super uncomplicated protection, you could do hold the line. This is something I would rather do on a heal bender, because you don't have a million tome free buttons on a heal bender. So hold the line is more fixed there. But yeah, usually you like run more powerful things in here. So that's the one option. And the other thing is replacing the staff, and you just keep whatever you have going here. So the thing is, staff has swiftness and might, and a lot of healing, quite a lot of healing actually, NCC soon, and you have to kind of make up for that. So swiftness you also get from tome free, but then and then of course advance, right? So you have to do one of the two things. If you run advance, maybe stand your ground, you have to go into tome 2, or you don't need stability, or you solve stability with tome 3, you do advance instead, right? But there is flexibility how to solve these boon issues, like I mentioned, right? You can approach this in different ways. You can utilize tome 2 and run a certain utility, or you change utility and utilize the third tome instead of the second tome. That's really personal taste, really, how you want to approach this. The other thing is might. So might is an interesting one in Guardian. You have to do a million things to do might. F14542. Yes. So what I usually do is, if you want to just give might. Again, legendary lore helps big time. That's like the no-brainer one, because everything in here gives might. And what I usually do though is 4, 2, and 3 for different reasons, because I also run a relic. But you can run 5, 4, 2 in that order, and then when you're quick enough, you might be even able to finish with your staff. But again, if you replace staff, that's not an option, right? So you have one less blast finisher there. But what you can do then is run empowering might. And when you hit critically, you basically just spit out some might on the side. So that's an option. And then you can let's see. Oh yeah, then your quickness mantra, right? So your quickness mantra is also giving might, so you want to spam that. Of course, you have to play your tome 1 very heavily then though. So you have to do this very frequently, right? Or just throw in like 1 mantra charge there. The thing is, if you use 3 mantra charges in your tome, you get 1 back, right? So the last one is usually a freebie. This should also be more doable in the future, because they will change a few numbers on like how many pages these abilities cost, right? So you don't have to invest as much. The last option, which is an interesting one that's more played in Fractals, but you can do this elsewhere as well, is you play this trade, and when you CC something, then you also give might. So you can still use your F1, like the tome pull, and that would also give might because of this trade. And I don't know if there's a C on the spear, right? But there is also another might, so you can play basically like this and just play tome 1 more heavily. And then you, of course, because you play staff, you can still do this would the knockback here, the pull would give might, the shield knockback, this would give might because of this trade. So you have to approach your might giving in a very different way with certain utilities if you do that. But I can see this also working to cover it like properly all around. Okay, let's see how we do the might. So we're doing might without staff. And then I can basically show you how you can tweak this. We do this. Boom. Yeah. So we have 2 trade changes. We just need a golem. Oh, there you go. I can take a lot of cake here, that should be fine. So any golem would also be fine. Then we need a boom table. Boom. Okay, so basically whenever we CC now, we do give might. We have an internal cooldown of 1 second for this. But actually, well, we don't do staff, right? So imagine we have a spear in the other set now, basically. So we just do like quickiness and stuff, right? We can do this thing, boom, boom. Oh, we just now we just chill a bit. Boom. Alright, with easy peasy 25 might, right? We're not having any staff involvement whatsoever, right? This is basically yeah, it's completely free. Like you would never ever need a staff for any of this, basically, for might coverage. It's completely so you can consider this staff more a heal weapon than anything else, right? And it gives some might, and that's like kind of nice. But you will never ever struggle with might on a heal firebrand unless you're not pressing button. Oh yeah, also actually, never mind. I cheated slightly because I'm running a relic. But even without this, should be fine actually. Because most people run monk because they want to heal more, which I don't do anymore because I'm healing way too much. But let's just say we are a person who feels like they need to run monk even though they really don't. But even then, let's just do it again. Actually, we can open with the fire. There we go. Boom. Do some quickness because that's kind of neat. But it's the same thing, right? You just have 25 might and you're just chilling hard, right? That is what it is. Then you can like it's completely free. So there's no staff involvement whatsoever in this, basically. Like struggling with might as a is not a thing, right? It's not a thing whatsoever unless you don't know what you're doing.